The crooks are winding up homeless. The crooks are winding up homeless. The baby boomers are returning to the streets from whence they came. Many of them are not able to make it through retirement. Watching this video to fully understand why so many boomers are winding up homeless and why most Americans won't really care in the end. Now let's just go ahead and jump right into the first video.
The face of homelessness is changing. New research shows the number of people 65 and older experiencing homelessness will triple by 2030.
And Keith and Nelson is on your side tonight, digging deeper into what experts call the crisis of age.
Homelessness is a scary situation for anyone to even imagine. This age group, 55 plus baby boomers, they have additional concerns. Some have health or mobility problems emergency shelters are not equipped to handle. And they occupy two of the riskiest categories for heat-related illness, being older and unhoused. But an expert in the field tells me there is hope and this problem can be solved. We took our cameras inside of Jim Paris's car. For 2.5 years, he called this space home.
You know, I'm glad I have the car, but every time I get in it, it brings me back there. And it's not good.
From the outside looking in, homelessness for many of us seems like a them problem, like it could never happen to us.
I used to see homeless people and I would think, good God, you know, I could never be there, but you know, it wouldn't take much to make it happen. And then it happened.
Paris was a part of a group quickly becoming the largest portion of our nation's homeless population. He's a baby boomer.
The largest group remains those who are 18 to 45, but the fastest growing percentage population is 55 and older.
And Dawn Gilman says it's moving into 65 and older. She runs Changing Homelessness. A recent survey of the homeless population in Duval, Nassau, and Clay counties shows the number of people 55 and older increased by 6% in just 6 months.
God is good all the time. All the time, God is good.
I went from owning my own company for 7 years. I worked on access control.
Life, he says, led to other jobs, not making quite enough to get by.
I didn't have enough money to put a down payment on an apartment or anything, and I resorted to living on the streets. I would use the restroom facilities at the park, which of course didn't have any showers, but I was able to clean up, wash up in the sinks, and use the restroom facilities.
Confined physically and mentally, health problems crept in, along with depression.
You know, the worst case scenario, of course, is suicide. And anytime any slight thought of that would creep into my head, all I had to do was think of my daughter. I could never do that to her.
Reflecting on a different time in his life.
I mentioned to you that I had my own company for 7 years. And the reason I did that was to be able to spend more time with my daughter.
We all need something or someone to help us out. For Jim Paris, it was his daughter and Changing Homelessness. The agency helped him get off the streets.
This is a solvable problem.
Gilman is working with the new administration at City Hall to prioritize funding to address the issue.
We're looking at different ways that we could.
No, leave them out. Listen to me. They told us at 18, before 18, my father told me get the fuck out at 14. All right? Listen to me. They told us to get out when we were young, and we had to go out and figure it out. Notice homelessness has always been between the ages of 18 and 45. How are you? How is an 18-year-old? Why has there always been such a large population of young people homeless when they have functional parents? But now, when the roles are reversed, society needs to do something about it. Well, it's different. The prestigious boomers, the group of people that call themselves the greatest generation, they'll tell you that it's about love and kindness. Listen to me. I don't have any money for these people. I'm being honest with you. And thankfully, the government is broke. They can try to print money to take care of the boomers, which is what the boomers have always done. They can try to borrow from the future to pay for the past. or pay for the present, which is what, oh no, it's even paying for the past, which is what even what the boomers have always done. But eventually you run out of other people's money, and it's like trying to get water out of a stone, out of a rock. These people, they've created this society, they've created this disparity, and now they want someone else to pay for it. It's just not going to happen. Social Security is set to run out of money. A lot of Gen Xers, they're going to take their Social Security starting at 62 because they know it's not going to be around in the future. The first generation of Gen X, the first year of Gen X will turn 60 in just a couple of months, and then fast forward 2 years from that, they'll be eligible for Social Security, and they're being told, well, if you wait until 70, you can get the maximum amount, but wait until 67, you'll get a lot. Wait until 70, you'll get even more. But they already know that chance that Social Security is going to run out in a couple of years. It's supposed to run out by 2034. And the thing is that it could run out before that. And then at that point, people on Social Security would only be getting around 77% of what they're getting today. That's assuming that the workforce doesn't get smaller, and a variety of things. The workforce is likely going to get smaller. Okay. So they're only be getting what the tax revenues are. Yeah. I mean, it's guys, most Gen Xers know, there's some jackass Xers out there, but most Gen Xers know that the life has never been fair, and they knew that Social Security is not going to last. Anyone with half a brain knows Social Security is not going to last. So a lot of Gen Xers who see what the world is, they're gonna take that Social Security as quickly as they can and just pack it away because they know it's gonna run out. All of these foolish boomers that are still sitting around, like, I'm gonna maximize my benefits. Yeah, bro, that little bro, listen, little bro, good luck with that. Good luck with that, little bro. Good luck with that, little sis. Okay, because that money is gonna run out, and eventually, what will end up happening is very soon it'll just be all payroll taxes. And as more people are like, well, we don't want to work anymore, or we're not going to work for pennies anymore, and when men pay 80% of all taxes, guys. Think about this very carefully. Think about it. Men pay 80% of all taxes. And you want to mess around. They want to mess around with people who keep the United States afloat. So with more men walking away from Western society, with more men dropping out, and Gen Z is done. The boomers are here saying that Gen Z is going to have to, flip the bill for all of this stuff, and but they'll be all right. Gen Z, the boomers are crazy. Gen Z is not having it though. They're a bunch of bad muffins, and they're a bunch of bad little muffins. So they're already clocking out and capping out, and companies aren't hiring them. So we don't have a future workforce beyond the millennials and Xers, and a lot of millennials are beginning to clock out as well, are beginning to lay the framework for clocking out or reducing their hours. So the uh the amount of money that's going to be generated is not going to be enough. A lot of Gen Xers are going to realize this and just start to pull out money at 62 and get whatever they can get out of the scam, because it's a Ponzi scheme. Social Security is and has always been a Ponzi scheme. Ponzi scheme, for those of you that don't understand, basically a pyramid scheme. So it's always about the next guy that comes in. All right. So it's people just adding more and more money to it. And but it's dependent on the next idiot that you can bring into it. But eventually it starts to collapse. And that's really where we're headed. So the boomers, they're going to be out there in the streets where from the streets they came, to the streets they shall return. And it's I don't care. I've done my time. I did my homeless time. I did my time being homeless, and it was hard on me. 8 months I was out there, and I suffered a lot. I really suffered a lot. But look at me, by the grace of God, I have a six-figure business just from this YouTube channel. This is a six-figure business. I have other streams of income, and I also know how to code. I'm a decent coder. I can do different languages, I'm pretty good. So listen, it's time for the boomers to learn how to code. It's time to learn how to code, boomers. It's time to learn how to code. You can go down to your public library, get some books. There's all kinds of resources, and you can get on top of that. Let them get on top of that, because it's time. It's time. It's time. It's time.
Focus resources
to be able to quickly identify the folks that are in a housing crisis or are literally homeless, who are 55 and older, and then where's the best place for them to go so they have a home.
Unlocking a solution will take time, attention, resources, and hope.
There's always a worst case scenario, but there's also always a light at the end of the tunnel.
Paris moved into his own apartment about 6 months ago with the help of Changing Homelessness. They partner with about 40 agencies here on the First Coast that help the homeless population. We have some helpful resources listed right now in this story on firstcoastnews.com.
Now, me personally, I don't care. Okay, you all know how I feel about Gen Z, and so you know how I feel about the boomers. I have boomers that are always threatening me, saying that they have power and they can come and deal with me. Yes, okay. Listen to me. They're a vitriolic bunch, and then when consequences really begin to emerge, a lot of them will go around saying that they're victims. They'll try to play on your emotions. Oh, we wiped your butts when you were growing up. And I'm thinking to myself, bro, you let us piss and shit ourselves and told us to deal with it, you know? And that's what you're gonna have to do now too. You're gonna have to deal with it also, because no one's gonna wipe you up, all right? No one has time for that. I don't know, guys. I just don't feel for the boomers. I'm not crying for them. My heart does not ache for them. I personally think that, they're kind of experiencing what they should be experiencing right now. These people, they crapped on their children, they crapped on all of us. They basically left us in states of poverty and destitution. We were poor kids growing up, and we just basically did with what we had. The boomers did not give a rat's ass about us. They made our lives a living hell. Okay. And now they're basically heading for poverty and destitution. What they did to their kids is now coming back to haunt them, and they don't want to basically deal with it. Like, these are bad people. Listen, never feel bad for a boomer. Never feel bad for a boomer. Are there some decent people out there? Of course. Are there some decent people who are boomers? Of course. But I'll tell you right now, the vast majority are the worst people you could ever imagine. They were out here doing bad. They're out here doing bad for 50, 60 years. They're out here doing bad for 50 or 60 years. And now it's karma. God is good. God is good. It takes time sometimes. It feels like it's taking forever, but God is good. And now they are getting their just deserves. And it is going to be a beautiful and wonderful thing, because a lot of them are going to be out there in the streets, and they're going to have to clean up in the sinks, and the bird, do their little bird bath cleanup. And all these, it's not even salt and pepper. They hear it's just like a lot of them straight white are heading in that direction. And it's like, guys, I'm telling you, like, I'll be out there and I'll just look around and see a bunch of homeless boomers. Like, I'm just gonna smile. I'm just gonna smile, because now they're at that age too where, if it was like a homeless younger person in their teens, or even like in their 40s, you got to be careful because they're desperate. But these boomers, a lot of them have aches and pains. They're old, they're overweight, arthritis. They can't really do anything to anyone. They can try, but they're not in the best of health for that type of life. And it's only downhill from there. So, you just see them. It's like they're almost kind of, don't get me wrong, mentally they're still predators, but physically it's almost like they're vulnerable population in that respect. So you just walk around. It's like just looking like an old pet. It's like they're out there. You just look at them, and then you just smile. You just smile. You're like, oh, look at them cleaning up, doing a little bird bath thing in a sink. Ah, look at the boomer. Look at the little boomer. Oh gosh. Guys, I can't stand the boomers. I really can't. I don't like them as a generation. They've done nothing but bad and evil in society, and it's time for them to do their time on the streets, on the streets and the shelters and the woods. They better be careful. Women are like, oh, we prefer the bear. Let me tell y'all something. Bears are dangerous. All right, don't go messing with bears. Don't go fucking with bears, because they will fuck you up. All right. But the boomers, they're gonna learn these things. They're gonna learn these things. A lot of things that Gen X knew by the time they were 10 years old, the boomers are gonna start learning these things for the first time in their lives. Can you imagine that boomers just don't have the life experience of a 10-year-old Gen Xer? They don't have the experience. They don't have the survival skills of a 10-year-old Gen Xer. The resourcefulness of a 10-year-old Gen Xer. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine the first time the boomer ends up in the woods and it's just like you're hearing all of these sounds and you don't know what to do and they feel disorientated and they don't know which direction to go in. That's another thing we need to talk about, guys, about Gen X and the woods. There's something very strange about Gen X. You see, somehow Gen Xers have this capacity, this capability of just always navigating. I've never realized it before. I've been in the woods, been out on the trails. I don't know why I've never gotten lost. This is a strange fucking thing. You could spin me around and I'll just kind of figure it out. What the fuck is that shit? Strange thing about Gen X. You don't really hear a lot of stories about Gen Xers getting lost in the woods. I'm not saying it never happens, but this is a strange thing with these motherfuckers. You could just drop them in the woods, and that's pretty much it. And they'll come back when they're ready. All right. But and of course, women. There are some women who get lost in the woods. Again, it happens. It's not everyone, but the typical Gen Xer, it's like from the woods they came is to the woods they shall return, or from the bush. These motherfuckers, you just put them in the woods, and like, I've never really thought about it before like that. Like, we can just something is wrong with Jet. I don't know. Natural survivalists, like motherfuckers, they just handle shit. The boomers, you put them in the woods, they'll be out there wondering what these sounds are. How do I get back? Which direction do I go in? I don't know what the hell. I have no idea how Gen X can just casually navigate the woods. This is a strange thing. I can't explain this. I cannot explain this phenomenon. I'm being so real. I cannot explain this phenomenon. Gen X can casually, like boomers, get disorientated. They'll get disorientated and they don't know where the hell, which direction they came from, and not Gen X. It's like from the woods. They like it out there. They like it out there.
In this video, we discuss 9 reasons why many in the baby boomer generation may be in financial trouble. Coming up next on Holy Schmith.
Holy Schmith!
We're going to run through this very quickly because there's a lot to cover here.
And guys, if you want to check out the Holy Schmith channel, you can check them out by visiting the link in the description. And let's just go ahead and jump right back in.
All very, very important. But before we do, make sure you give the video a like. This helps the YouTube algorithm raise the video in the search results, and I want to help as many people as possible. All right, let's go. Number 1 is longevity risk. Let me start off with a little party trick that you can use that will amaze friends and strangers alike. Who first said, "I've got some good news and I've got some bad news"? No, it wasn't Alec Baldwin in the 1992 movie Glengarry Glen Ross, although that's frankly where I first heard it. The real answer is a gentleman by the name of Herman Kerner in his 1898 book Beleaguered. So let's lead with this. I've got some good news, and that is in 2024, as you approach retirement or even are in retirement, you're more than likely to live 20% longer than your 1960 self getting ready to go into retirement at that time. The bad news is that you now have to figure out how to pay for it, because people in 1960 didn't have to worry about extreme longevity risk, at least not to the extent that they do today. The biggest problem of all is that no one growing up actually knows what it's like to be older, and because of that, they don't plan properly. They think that they'll always be youthful until the end. This, by the way, is what Peter Attia calls his health span concept. Meaning that growing up, we all think that we're going to be able to do the things we can do today, even if we're not required to do them anymore.
Now, just to be very clear, all of us have known, for example, millennials were warned very long ago, there will be no retirement savings for you. You don't have pension, and you do not have, and there will be no social security for you. I think that in a certain way, this is actually not the worst of things. And you know the reason it's bad. I'm not gonna say it's not bad, but this warning, if anything else, forces millennials to understand that, hey, you're gonna have to have something, or else you're gonna be working for the rest of your life, right? Or even or just it's gonna and you're in a bad situation because when you hit 60 years old, not even 60, even in your 50s, finding a job is gonna be a lot harder. A lot of people just never plan properly, and in the case of millennials, they know this. Gen Z is cooked. Gen Z is absolutely cooked. Like, listen to me. Y'all don't believe me. Gen Z is not going to be here very long. Okay. The boomers will be here far longer than Gen Z. Gen Z is not going to be here very long, bro. Y'all don't seem to comprehend it. They're not going to be here very long. The boomers will be here still tormenting society long after Gen Z is gone. Oh my gosh.
Work, for instance, but that actually isn't the case in late stage retirement. Next, baby boomers are sometimes now called the sandwich generation. This is the generation that cares for both their aging parents and their adult children financially. The same medical technology that has increased your lifespan, the one we talked about just a minute ago, has also done the same for many of your parents. This means that they're living longer and hopefully they have a long health span, but frankly many do not, and this is where things get costly. On the flip side, the requirements for success for our children has gone way up. I don't know about you, but when I was 19 years old, I moved out and never moved back in again. I went to night school and worked during the day to pay for my college. I then put myself through graduate school at the Kellogg Business School and moved here to New York with my wife and my 1-year-old child to start a career in banking.
Yeah, Gen X. I was out, and guys, I moved out at 19 and I never moved back in. Guys, that's the story of Gen X. That's the story of Gen X. I have no empathy for the boomers. They put us out very early on, and we basically had to figure it out. Let them go figure it out. Let grandma and grandpa go figure out the streets.
There are more safety nets and children are taking longer. Probably not a bad thing, but it does impose a financial obligation on adults and retirees, frankly, that may not have existed 30 years ago. So on one end, your parents are living longer, and on the other, your children are on the payroll longer, so to speak. Next, Social Security is somewhat inadequate today, much more so than it ever has been in the past. Let me explain. Social Security is under pressure due to stagnant growth in the workforce. Historically, the number of workers per retiree was much larger than it is today, so the funding is getting depleted. The actuaries know this, and the SSA and the government has made small changes that have had a big impact over time. For example, moving the full retirement age from 65 to 67 has had a dramatic impact on the payout. Moving full retirement age from 65 to 67 without a corresponding move in the actions of the workforce has meant that people get paid less. And people on average take Social Security today at age 62. The majority of people do now. That's the first year that they're eligible. This means that people aren't working longer by and large to age 67. Additionally, if someone wanted to draw Social Security at age 62 and say invest it, the maximum they could earn without having to give part of it back would be $22,320 in 2024. For every dollar beyond that, they have to give back 50 cents. Once they reach full retirement age, they can earn as much as they want. Next, the taxability of Social Security went into effect in 1983, at which point up to 50% of your Social Security became taxable if you earned over a certain amount. That went to 85% in 1995. The problem is that those thresholds haven't changed, the ones that were put in place in 83 and 95 respectively, which means that you're far more likely to pay tax on your Social Security today than you would have been back in the day. Next, debt in retirement is more prevalent than it is today than it ever has been in the past. According to the 2022 Survey of Consumer Finances, which actually came out this year for the period ended 2022, 65% of retirees between 65 and 74 have debt in retirement. That amounts to, on average, $113,000 of mortgage debt and $45,000 of other debt.
So this is very interesting. The boomers on average have $100K in mortgage debt and almost $50,000 in personal debt. And half of all boomers have no retirement savings at all. And then only 30% of those that do have retirement savings have $100,000 or less. So as you guys can see, they're between a rock and a hard place. The boomers lived their lives to the fullest. They did whatever the hell they wanted to do. They hurt everyone around them, and now they're broke. And they have to. People go through people go through these things at different points in their lives. They're just gonna have to learn how to cope with it and make the best of it. Guys. Hey, that's life. That's how life is sometimes. You take the bad, you take the good, you take the bad, and there you have the facts of life. The facts of life. The boomers are going to have to learn that these are just the facts of life. These are just the facts of life, and sometimes you just got to roll with the punches. But as you heard, guys, the average person today actually takes Social Security at age 62. So as I said, Gen X, they're coming in. The first of Gen X are going to be 60, are going to turn 60 this year, 60 in just a couple of months in 2025. And Gen X knows that this scheme is not going to last long. So Gen X is going to come in and get their money. They're going to come in and get their motherfucking money. That's right. Yes, yeah. You don't know how much I'm celebrating this shit. Oh gosh, it's finally our turn to get ours. Gen X, yo, bro, Gen X, scrape that shit clean. Scrape that shit clean, Gen X. Get everything that you're entitled to. Obviously, you're never going to get everything you're entitled to, but you scrape as much of it as you can clean. Gen X, scrape that shit clean. Don't leave anything for those boomers.
Our student loan credit cards, for example. It gets a little bit better at age 75 plus. The number goes down to 50% of retirees.
You know what's actually kind of interesting, by the way? So Gen X is strong. Gen Xers are different. Like this is kind of where the trend is going, where it's like you can't be fat and old anymore. You have to be strong throughout the course of your life. Like I was saying to Mayumi, like I don't know if it was a couple of days ago or a week ago, but I said to her recently, that, Mayumi, where things are heading with Gen Xers, you're gonna have 70-year-old Gen Xers walking around looking like Super Saiyans. Because the way society is changing, men have, you have to stay in shape much longer. And if you want to survive, you're going to have to stay in shape. You can't go around, you can't be like the boomers getting big and fat in their 30s back in the 90s. If you want to survive in today's world, you're going to have to keep your body in shape. You can't walk around with those little fanny packs like the boomers were doing back in the 90s. These big bellies, they had the big belly in front of them, and they had big thighs and the big ass behind them, and they had the little fanny packs where they kept their cookies and cakes and other knickknacks, because their keys, because they were too big to really do anything else. For the average person today, you're gonna have to keep your ass in shape. You're gonna have to, a lot of Gen Xers are gonna have to stay in shape, keep hitting the gym, taking care of themselves if they want to live and survive. Okay, like we don't have time for Alzheimer's. I'm just being real. Like Gen X does not have time for that shit. They better keep it. Listen to me. If their memory is going, they better fix that shit. They better fix that shit, because no one's coming to save them. No one's coming to rescue them. All right. They better get their senses back together. I don't give a fuck how. Life, this is the thing about Gen X. They know life is not fair. They know life is not fair. I had one Gen Xer, who said that basically he knows he's not, I forgot his name, but dude was like pretty much, he's like 57. And bro was like, yeah, he knows that, he's gonna be working for the rest of his life, and his future is the glue factory. That's pretty much it. He's gonna keep working till the end, until they take him off to the glue factory. And it's very unfortunate when you see things that way, but it's kind of a reality where either you get your shit together, because there's not going to be any retirement. He said there's no retirement for him. And Gen Xers know there's no retirement for them. But, and like I said, that's the reason why when you have guys like this, like guys like him, he's gonna take Social Security at 62 years old. There's literally no reason not to. He's gonna take it and put that money in his pocket and enjoy himself with that. See, the boomers are the ones who desperately need it. They desperately need Social Security, but they've done such damage to it. They've been and all of these laws and policies are the boomers. The boomers and their parents, but very much the boomers. They're responsible for so much of this. It doesn't matter if they come out attacking people like me. I'm just one person, man. I'm just trying to live my best life, all right, and survive. The boomers had their time, okay? They got to have children. They got to have nice homes. They're still doing it, going on nice vacations. I don't give a shit, all right? And now they want everyone else to pay for it. They think Gen Z can barely read or write, and they think that Gen Z they're going to be able to take advantage of Gen Z and use them to survive, because the millennials are tapped out. Gen X just walked away, and they think they're going to do this with Gen Z. Gen Z can barely read and write, and many, if not most, Gen Alphas will never work a day in their lives. So they're absolutely fucked on every end. And they're gonna have these are consequences, and they think that, and like the boomers think like they're gonna have like some kind of prestige where people are gonna say, "Oh, the boomers, how wonderful they were." Most people don't like the boomers, okay? And we're gonna punish you if you don't like us. Do you see what are the reasons why no one likes you? Thank goodness. You see, guys, it's gonna be a combination of gaslighting and threats from these people, but eventually it doesn't work out so well, because like I said, they're getting old. They're getting really, really old. They think they're still strong enough to go and fight. No, they're not the fight generation. Gen X were the fight generation. If you messed around, you found out. Okay. We got Gen Xers Gen Xers on oxygen text, letting you know they will fuck you up. You got some Gen Xers on oxygen text. They lived very hard lives. They've gone through some serious health issues. All right. And you've got some Gen Xers on oxygen text, letting you know they will fuck you up. And they're not fucking around, y'all. They will beat you with that text. They will beat you with that tank and then get charged with for attacking someone with what would be considered a weapon. This is Gen X. This is Gen X. You give Gen X a cane, that's a weapon. Oh my gosh. Oh gosh.
Point. For reference, 20% of the 75 plus crew had debt in 1989. So we've gone from 20% in 1989 to 50% in 2024. This is, of course, a byproduct of tougher times, easier credit standards, and just a general belief that debt is going to be part of one's life. Next, inadequate retirement savings. The average retiree has a median retirement savings amount of $200,000. Now that sounds like a bit of money, and it is, but using the 4% rule, the 4% withdrawal rule, $200,000 at 4% means that you can withdraw $8,000 per year. When combined with an average Social Security payment of $18,060, that means the average retiree is bringing in approximately $26,000 of spendable income per person. The Survey of Consumer Finances isn't far off, by the way. They ask the question directly, what is the family income? And that number for a retiree is $60,530 for a family. So there's probably some pension income in there, but frankly not much. What does this mean? Well, for some people it's fine. The amount is adequate enough. But when you overlay the debt that we talked about, then the picture starts to change. The debt service payment on $158,000 per person at 4% is approximately $8,000 per year per person. This means that if a couple was bringing in $60,530, if you subtract 8,000 times 2, 16,000, they're actually bringing in $44,530. Next, rising healthcare costs. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The average retiree couple thinks that they're going to spend approximately $41,000 over their lifetime combined in medical related costs. And this number is primarily, in their mind, the cost of Medicare and the associated Medicare, Medigap policies. But the actual number, according to Fidelity, is $318,000 for that couple. So why is there such a big gap? Well, first, people only think about Medicare and the costs related to Medicare, but they don't think about the health insurance payments that they have to make if they retire before age 65.
And guys, I just want to point out to you, many of you have been asking for a very long time, because you know that I did homelessness over 10 years ago, and I survived that shit. I rocked that shit out. But you guys, we finally have the course out for you. You've been asking for the course for a long time. Here it is. Learn how to survive and thrive using government and community resources. This is not just for people who are facing homelessness. This is for people, everyone in general. So a lot of you guys are leaving money on the table. A lot of you are leaving money on the table. You don't even realize you're leaving money on the table. And there's a lot of community programs, government programs that you may qualify for that you do not know about. All right. And there's a lot of ways to survive and thrive without having to and reduce your spending so that you can live an easier, more comfortable life. Because as men are walking away now, we don't have, because we're not getting married, we're not having children. There are so many ways to survive now. So we actually have the course out for you guys. We finally got it out for you. There's a link in the description. And you're going to learn how to survive and thrive using government and community resources. It's a 12-lesson crash course on using government and community resources to secure money, food, housing, healthcare, and more to reduce cost and thrive. This is absolutely incredible. Millions of people are already doing this, and now you're going to be able to go out there and do this for yourself. So you can go and check this out. We also have a free ebook that you can get. So if you don't want to jump right into the course, you can also pick up the free ebook, and it'll basically explain to you some of the things that are going on and so forth. So yeah, head over to the website. The website is linked in the description of the video. You can go and get the course, guys, or pick up the ebook. But this is absolutely incredible. This is absolutely incredible what we have right here. Okay. And I mean, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy, guys. I finally got it up for you, so you can learn how to survive, thrive like a champ. Basically cut your expenses back so much that you can basically survive anywhere. You can live off almost nothing. All right, you're going to bring your cost of living down substantially, and this is for everyone. Everyone can use this course. Everyone can pick this course up. Go ahead and grab it. It's a great deal. Go and get that, guys. But yeah, I mean, the boomers, they never knew how to live. See, this is the resourcefulness of Gen X. This is what makes Gen X so resourceful. We are not fucking around.
Study reveals a jarring truth for baby boomers tonight. Instead of retirement and relaxation, many are facing bankruptcy. More than 12% of those who file for protection are over 65. In 1991, it was just over 2%. Jill Schlesinger is here. Jill, pretty alarming to think about. What's happening to baby boomers?
Well, this is accelerating a long-term trend that we've seen, and the Great Recession poured even more fuel on that. And the first thing that happened was pensions overall were eliminated by many private companies, replaced with 401ks, which are voluntary savings plans. The next problem, medical costs, out-of-pocket expenses have gone up dramatically. And then we should also note that median household income, wages in general, have been stagnant for almost 3 decades. So despite progress recently, we've got a long way to go.
So one study found the median savings for people over 65 was about $60,000. The bottom 25% had saved a little more than $3,000. What, from your perspective, what can people be doing to avoid this?
You know, if you work even just a little bit longer, it can be a great improvement in your long-term financial stability. We also know people are taking Social Security early. We want to get to your full retirement age if possible. 2 things that can really make a difference.
People look forward to that retirement so much and just want to get there, right?
Yep.
All right. Jill, thank you very much.
They're taking retirement early because they're broke. The boomers are broke. They don't have it, guys. Like, that's another boomer right there that's in complete denial when it comes to her generation. Half of boomers have no retirement savings, okay? They have on average $100,000 in mortgage debt, and almost $50,000 in personal debt for things like credit cards. Okay, I don't know what, guys. These people are delusional. This is why I'm so glad that that Gen X is finally starting to turn 60, because they're gonna go in there and by 62 they're gonna start clearing that shit out. Guys, you're gonna see a bunch of Gen X doesn't look like old people, all right? You have a bunch of Gen Xers just going in there cleaning like they're like a home invasion, just cleaning that shit out, just cleaning it out, just cleaning everybody's shit out. All right. The boomers have had their fun. They've had their fun, and it's about to come to an end because Gen X is about to step in and get theirs. Boy, oh boy, I'm so excited! I'm so excited! Mm. Oh my goodness! Guys, I'm just imagining Gen X cleaning this shit out, cleaning it out. Oh god! Oh god!
Still have to pay for medical insurance, and that can be quite costly up until age 65. The second is a cost that almost no one thinks about, and that's the cost of long-term care. Most people don't think that they're going to need long-term care, but in fact many do, and the cost per annum is $108,000 for long-term care per person. Next is the pension shortfall of a company itself. Before the advent of a 401k, the companies provided something called a defined benefit plan, meaning that the benefits that you would receive were defined at the beginning of your employment. You knew with a very strong degree of certainty what you were going to receive in retirement if you stuck with a company for 30 or 40 years. This type of plan engendered lifetime employment, dedication to the company, and skilled employees passed their skill down to other employees who came into the workforce later. Now the model's turned upside down. Today, people are thought of in terms of where they fit in the contribution to, in many cases, the revenue of the company. For example, if you're a revenue generator, like a salesperson, you fall into one category, particularly if you're a really good salesperson. If you are a cost center, like someone that does something outside of sales and marketing, for example, in many cases, you're actually considered a different type of employee. Cost centers are often outsourced. That isn't always true, of course, because there's some very skilled people who do what they do that aren't generating revenue, but it is a higher risk category. Conversely, if you're not good at generating revenue, you're at extreme risk of being put out of business very, very quickly, because in many instances, you're either a revenue generator or you're not. It's either in your DNA or it's not. Overlay the fact that union agreements have absolutely crushed the defined benefit plan, and you now have a situation where people are contributing to their 401k, and that is their primary source of retirement revenue. There are exceptions to this, of course. Government jobs do still have defined benefit plans, but most corporations no longer offer this feature. Next, market volatility. Most people retiring today have seen a wonderful run in the market over the last 40 years.
And by the way, guys, come and join the Angry Guy Clubhouse. The Clubhouse is absolutely lit. It is a place where you're going to find video, extended videos, podcasts. We have a chat for you guys. Anyone can hit me up via chat. You know, we have articles that we drop every day. Like, for example, our latest article, choosing a girlfriend is like hiring an employee. You can go and check out that article. Absolutely incredible. Absolute banger. The Clubhouse the Clubhouse is an absolute dream. You know, we have something for everyone there. We just dropped a new article. We're talking about Gen X a bit. Boomers, we have a new article. What Gen X learned about surviving hardship that younger generations didn't. You know, guys, there's so much here. We have another one. Women are driving men to isolation and celibacy. You know, guys, and women don't understand how hard times really get when poverty arises. For example, society must collapse so that men can rebuild it. But then, you know, our women's rights crumbled after the Roman Empire collapsed. Just got another idea for a video actually after this one. Another idea for an article. I might just drop that for you guys. So you guys, we're dropping articles like crazy, dropping stuff like crazy. We have articles, we have videos, we have podcasts if you just want to listen. We have guides over here as well on building wealth, how to build a thriving business and have fun doing it. Mark Cuban's billionaire blueprint from mac and cheese to millions, really billions. Unlock your path to passive income with our complete affiliate marketing guide. So that's absolutely incredible. We've got that set up for you guys. so you can go and start surviving, thriving, learning. And yeah, it's readily available. And again, don't forget to check out our Learn How to Survive and Thrive Using Government and Resources course. That's linked in the description of the video. Everything I mentioned is linked in the description of the video, guys.
It hasn't always been that way. For example, when stagflation hit, the period between 1973 and 1982, prices continued to go up, but the market effectively stayed flat over that period of time. Let me explain. In 1972, the S&P 500 closed the year at 118. In 1981, the S&P 500 closed the year at 122, effectively flat for that 10-year period. For reference, the average cost of a McDonald's hamburger was 21 cents in 1972 and 45 cents in 1981. Is it possible in the years ahead we could face prolonged periods of high inflation and low market performance? Well, you tell me. In a future video, I'm going to talk to you about how to manage these issues if you're worried about them, so make sure you click subscribe and turn on notifications so that you get alerted when I post a video. I post approximately once or twice per week.
Now, and guys, I want to talk a little bit about this guy, that you just saw talking to us. This is kind of the things that people are going to have to get ready for. Where if you want to survive, if you want to thrive, you're going to have to be able to do this. Like his name is the Holy Schmith. And like I said, I'm going to link you to his channel. But his channel has 292,000 subscribers. And, he talks, he does free retirement ready checklist. But guys, this is what I'm saying. Like, you're going to, if you want to survive in this new economy, you're going to have to be able to adapt and create additional value for others. This is a Gen Xer right here, and he understands how hard life is. Like, you're going to have to, guys, you're going to have to stay in shape, hit the gym, be working out. Like this, he doesn't look bad. Like Holy Schmith doesn't look bad, but he's going to have to look even better going forward. That's the life of a Gen X, bro. When I see Gen Xers that are out here still, they're heavy and all this stuff, and they're talking about, like, bro, nobody gives a fuck about you like that. Like, it's just like, it's hard to hear. Nobody gives a fuck about you like that. Like, you need to get your shit together. Little bro, you need to get your shit together and stop crying about it, because society doesn't give a fuck about any of us. All right. And that's kindness. That is the absolute kindness. Guys, when I want to remember that life is hard and I need to get my shit together, I go hang out with Gen X. Because they give me a nice, wonderful, continuous dose of nobody gives a fuck about you like that. All right? That's what Gen X gives you. Nobody cares about you. No one gives a damn about your problems. Get your shit together right now. Guess what? That's an extreme amount of kindness. All right? Because they literally could just tell you to fuck off. All right? They're just reminding you that only you can help you. The boomers are they're not headed anywhere good. The boomers do not have a great future ahead of them, and again, they think that they're going to continue bullying society, doing what they've always done, by voting, in mass to, get the shit that they want. But the reality is that, consequences are now coming for the boomers. The boomers are facing some very hard times for the evil that they've done, for the bad decisions that they've made. The boomers have made a lot of enemies. They've made a lot of enemies, and yet they seem to think that it's okay because they're going to always get what they want. And it's just not, it doesn't work like that. All right. Eventually you run out of other people's money. The boomers clean the meat off the bone. They suck the marrow dry. And, now they've come back for the bone, and they don't realize that eventually there's going to be nothing left. And their response to this will basically be, give me more. And you're like, bro, there's nothing left, little bro. There's nothing left. No, give me the fucking bone. Bro, the bone is gone. You ground that. Are you going through Alzheimer's? Are you getting dementia, bro? You ground that up already. You ground that up like a couple of years ago, and stored it. There's nothing left, bro. All right, the bone is gone. There's no more. You can't even make bone broth anymore. All right, you took it all. And we have nothing left. Give me whatever you have, bro. You took everything that I have. You robbed me clean, bro. I'm just out here surviving the best I can. Give me your money. I don't have any money. Well, then how are you surviving? I'm living in the woods and eating leaves. Somebody needs to help me, because it's about kindness, bro. You're the least kind person out there. All right, you've pillaged society. You've destroyed society. There's nothing left for you. All right, what do you want, man? God. What about God? What about God, little bro? God wants us to be kind. Yeah. You played that hand already. Do you have anything else? All right, because I've got the world's tiniest violin right here. Okay, and yeah. You guys are some bad apples, man. You're some bad apples. You and those Gen Zers. Don't think I'd leave out Gen Z because Gen Zers they're just the reincarnates of the boomers. Okay, the boomers and the boomers and the zoomers, the boomers and the zoomers. They deserve one another. They deserve one another. The boomers and the boomers and the wicked zoomers, the wicked zoomers. Oh my gosh, I tell you, bad apples, and bad nuggets. I tell you, bad nuggets, bad apples and bad nuggets. They go hand in hand. They're one for one, man. One for one. They're equal to one another. Oh my goodness, I tell you, I don't like you. These groups of people, they've done so much bad in their life. They've hurt a lot of people. They've hurt a lot of people, all right? The Zoomers and the Boomers, they've broken many hearts. They've hurt so many. They've hurt so many. And now consequences are here. Cosmic karma. Cosmic karma is coming for these bad people. Very, very bad people. All right? These are not good people. These are very bad people, children. Very bad people. We have to be consciously aware of that because they're not going to stop. Can't stop, won't stop. These are bad people. And that's why so many of them will now be living in poverty because of the evil things that they've done to society and everyone around them. We have another video from Critty Thinks. We're going to pop on the video. We're going to play the video in a moment. And it's basically titled, Why Baby Boomers Are Living in Poverty, The Living Crisis. And it's basically, this whole notion, oh, no one ever told them to save for retirement. Yeah, that's total bullshit. Everyone has known they needed to save for retirement. How dumb do you have to be to not know that you need to save for retirement? This just illustrates that the boomers were living a very easy life, believing that society would always take care of them. We worked for it, you jackass. Hey, who are you calling jackass, man? You're the one headed for the streets, all right? You're the one headed to the streets, bro.
It's very easy to blame all of the financial troubles that we see today on those pesky baby boomers. They were the generation to be in the right place at the right time, and they had all of the advantages. And now they're sitting back, sitting on a ton of cash. But that's not actually accurate or even remotely true. The reality is that the number of older people living in poverty could almost double in the next 15 years. By 2040, nearly 1 in 4, or 3.9 million older people, have the potential to face financial hardship. By 2040, the number of older people who rent their homes privately and struggle with money, well, that could actually triple. A new report from the charity Independent Age, which helps older people face financial difficulties, well, they predict a big increase in poverty among older people by 2040 if nothing changes. These researchers suggest that if poverty levels for people aged 65 plus keep changing as they have done since 2010, then older people will face more financial hardship in the future. Poverty among older people will rise from 17% to 23%, meaning the number of older people living in poverty in the UK, well, that could grow from 2.1 million in 2022 to 3.9 million by 2040. This increase in poverty will be more significant for older women than older men. Currently, 20% of older women are in poverty, but by 2040, the prediction is that that figure could rise to 26%. Now, there are many reasons, including women often earn less due to the gender pay gap, and they're more likely to take time off to care for their loved ones and for others. And speaking of caring, could I ask that you hit that thumbs up button for me and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already? Thank you very much. Now, poverty levels among older people with disabilities are expected to rise significantly from 18% to 29%. In comparison, poverty for older people without disabilities will go up from 17 to 19%. Those with disabilities often face extra costs to manage their conditions, making it even harder for them to save money. It's well documented that poverty is connected to shorter lifespans, poorer physical and mental health, and higher stress and anxiety. It also costs society because the difficult decisions these older people make often lead to more health and social care expenses. There are just too many older people going through financial hardships right now, and the rising poverty levels needs to be a wake-up call for the decision makers here in the UK. Nearly 2 million older people are already struggling financially. They skip meals, wash in cold water, or avoid using light at night just to save money. It's a disgusting and terrible situation.
Y'all remember what I told you? Y'all remember how I told you that they were going to turn around and say that it's disgusting seeing our older people, seeing our parents suffer like this. This is an absolute disgrace and more needs to be done. And listen to the guys. This is, this is some simp crap saying that, oh, the gender pay gap. We all know the gender pay gap is not real. Women actually make more money than men when adjusted for the number of years that they work and education. Women have been out earning men since the 90s, since the 70s, according to Thomas Sowell.
Affecting 1 in 6 older people. To be honest with you, it's a scandal. And the new research shows it's getting worse, affecting 1 in 4. Is this really what we want our future to look like? If we can engage with the right people now, we can ensure the voices of current and future generations of older people are heard, that they live in a safe, affordable and secure home and have the income they need to live a dignified and fulfilling life. Now, with everything we've talked about so far, we need to keep these figures in mind. Poverty is growing fastest among older people who rent privately. By the time people are 65 or older, nearly 1 in 4, that's 24%, will be living in rented homes. The number of people aged 65 plus renting privately will triple from 4 to 13%, while fewer older people will own their homes outright or live in social housing. Among older renters with disabilities, 61% of private renters and 76% of social renters will live in poverty. Additionally, about 14% of older women will rent privately, and over half of them will be in poverty. Older people who rent privately face big affordability problems. Local housing allowance, the LHA, was meant to cover the cheapest 30% of rentals in an area, but it was stuck at 2020 rates for such a long time. It's only recently been adjusted. Even with this adjustment, only 8.5% of rental homes are affordable on housing benefit across Britain. There's no assurances the UK government will even raise LHA next year. Meanwhile, rent in the UK has gone up by 9.2% in the last year alone. Older private renters are already at a big risk of falling into poverty because their fixed income is mostly used up to pay the rent.
You know what's amazing, y'all? Gen Xers know they need to keep on hustling and grinding, but boomers seem to think that they should have the luxury of retiring. This is another very important thing. You see, guys, as you get older, you have to keep your mind. You have to keep your mind, your mind sharp. One of the channels that I like to watch a lot is called Digital Foundry. And one of the guys on Digital Foundry, he looks a little older. He's in his 50s. And he's one of the best. This guy is, his knowledge is ridiculous. What this illustrates is the fact that, as guys, if you were there at the beginning, if you learned how computers worked back in the 90s and the 80s, or you are in the 70s, you should be at the top of technology today. You should understand technology better than any young person. Guys, I don't like Little Tay. This little, if you get, some of you guys know who Little Tay is, this little rapper. I don't really like Little Tay like that. But she said something very interesting. She was gone for like 5 years, and she was like off the internet for like 5 years, and then she came back. And she basically said something in one of her Instagrams. She was like, "I was gone for 5 years, and none of you, and you guys are still broke. I gave you 5 years to get your money up, and you're still broke." And it's hilarious like that, you know. It's hilarious like this, like that. Boomers have had all of this time to get their money right. They've had all of this time to get their money right, and they haven't gotten anything right. And if you're a person who was like, you started learning long before everyone else, like you were born in the 1940s or 1950s, bro, you should be an expert in technology. You should have all of this knowledge piled up. Like, for example, I was born in 1983. Okay, and I'm advanced, and I'm pretty advanced when it comes to a lot of different tech. But the reason why is because I've had to learn. I studied computer science in college. I studied business in college. I studied many different fields in university, everything from business, computer science, health, psychology. I've got a bunch of different degrees and a bunch of different things. And I'm learning, and I learn on a regular basis. Many of you are like, "Well, Angry, how the hell do you put out so many videos every day?" Because I've learned how to do that. I've learned how to use technology in such a way that I can create content rapidly and on the fly. That doesn't mean that I don't put in hard work. I work very, very hard to create and craft content for you guys. However, I've also had to learn how to be smart as I work. I work smart and I work hard. And it's every day is something new. Every day I've got to learn something new. It's not easy out there, y'all. I'm telling you, it's not easy. It's not easy. Women created this dystopic society. They created this dystopic reality, and now as men, we're just stuck in the middle. The boomers did it, and then their narcissistic offspring got into it, and now we're left into this. A lot of women are following what the lead of the boomers, and many women are going to end up in extraordinary poverty. As this guy pointed out, the vast majority of people who are ending up in this situation are women. No one's coming to bail out these older women, because women basically think that they're untouchable and unstoppable, and they will always have access to the simp economy and the state. The state is old, guys. I've explained how this works, and women themselves don't want to comprehend this. The state rewards women for acting as agents of the state. And by allocating wealth and resources from men to the state, women are then rewarded for doing this. Women have special privileges while men have special punishments. But it's not that the state actually likes women more than men. It just likes the fact that it is able to use women to reallocate wealth and resources from men to the state, because women make 80% of all purchases, consumer purchases, and men pay 80% of all taxes. So it's just one big scheme. But the older that a woman gets, the more difficult it is for her to access a man's resources. That's the reason why you have women who are in their 70s and 80s still doing the whole M2 thing, going after guys like Cosby, because that's their way of reallocating wealth and resources from the state, from men to the state, and then the state thereby rewards them for doing this. And it incentivizes them for doing this. But as more men are waking up and walking away, it becomes increasingly difficult. So if you have a grandma who does not have a man, she can't extract any more wealth and resources from men through marriage. She can't extract wealth and resources of men through the criminal court system by, outside of making a claim that some random guy did something. She can't get money that way. She cannot make a claim that, in her past, there's a wealthy guy like Cosby or another one of them who she was in a relationship with, and he did something, and now she needs a bunch of money as a result. So unless she can find a way to extort money, that's really what it is, extortion, and use the state as the facilitator to do this, they're basically up a creek without a paddle and living these lives where you're robbing people, you're taking advantage of people for decades. Eventually, it just doesn't work out for you, and time catches up with you. And time is catching up with these women. Time is catching up very much with women in Western society. The roosters are coming home to crow, and it's happening to especially older women who live this life. A lot of Gen X women damn well know this, that it's going to be rough out there, and there are prices for the choices that they've made. Guys, if you don't want to end up in that situation, or if you want to basically maximize your lifestyle, all right, because so that you can work less and enjoy your life more, guys, go and pick up our Learn How to Survive and Thrive Using Government and Community Resources course. It is absolutely amazing, guys. Go and pick it up. It is linked in the description of the video. What do you guys think regarding all of this? The crooks are winding up homeless, and no one is really crying for them. I sure as hell are. I sure as hell am not. Let me know your thoughts. We'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away. And cheers.